What up guys, it's Dragon Ball for Life here today and I'm back with another video. Now today's video we're going to be back to Death Battles Gogeta versus Vegito. Now I think this is a very interesting death battle, and when they announced it I was very excited. I think I haven't been this excited for a death battle of theirs in quite a while. I have reacted to a couple other ones, but some of the newer ones I didn't care as much about as this one. This one is far more interesting, especially because this one is mainly focusing on Dragon Ball itself, so it's just two Dragon Ball characters against each other, and we've been wanting to see who would win a fight between Gogeta and Vegito. But it is quite complex and confusing, type of debate to have, especially with, the way they might be handling it, because they did show Super Saiyan 4, so I wonder what direction they're going to go. And especially with nowadays, there's quite a bit of assumption with who would win in a fight, because there's a lot of stuff we have to take into factor. So I want to see how they handle it and see where they go with this. Also, this is the end of this season, so the next season is going to be starting. And I did see the lineup, some of the future matchups sound very interesting, so I can't wait to get into those. And this sounds pretty cool, so hopefully this video does not get, completely blocked. Hopefully, at least if they copyright claim me, that at least it's still open for all of you guys to see, because I'm very excited to get into this and upload it. So yeah, let's get into it.
Imagine it's 1995 and you're at a movie theater in Japan. You're there to watch Dragon Ball Z Fusion Reborn, and it's gonna be the most radical movie ever, dude. I mean, yeah, it was a little weird when Adolf showed up, but then it happened. Goku and Vegeta were pushed to the brink with only one option left. They merged into a single being of amazing power, Gogeta! And that would be the greatest thing 8-year-old you ever saw. Yep, you peaked at 8.
Fun fact, while Vegito had already debuted in the manga 2 months earlier, Gogeta was created first. After all, the movie had been in production throughout the previous year.
Two Saiyans, the proud son of royalty and the lower-class champion, becoming one epic powerhouse? This is the true potential of Goku and Vegeta. Easily a top 5 Dragon Ball moment. Hey,
it's cool because Gogeta and Vegito, both their builds are just Goku's build. They both have his height and his body weight, which, yeah, you would assume that with Vegeta in there, they should have a little bit more of his physical traits, but I think it's just because since Goku's bigger, his body's a little more imposing than Vegeta's. But I do think they should have done a little bit of a better job of mixing their looks and styles, because it does seem like Goku with a bit of Vegeta's design in it. Especially Gogeta looks completely like Goku, whereas Vegito looks a little bit more like, at least has a little bit more Vegeta in it, but it does look very Goku-esque. Though I do think Gogeta and Vegito look badass. I think they look like a cool-ass Saiyan design, but they just look more leaning towards Goku style. Now, there is a debate between Gogeta and Vegito on whose personality they have more of. I don't think that, because some people say that Gogeta's personality is more of Vegeta's because it's more serious, and Vegito's is more of Goku's because he's more goofy, but I don't think that's truly the case. I think the thing about, the transformation, or like the fusion, is the Metamarines fusion compared to the Pitar fusion. The Metamarines fusion is a far more serious fusion of theirs than the Pitar fusion. The Pitar fusion, I think, it just brings out their worst qualities of both, where they have like Vegito having his goofy style from Goku, and having Vegeta's, egotistical, prideful, boastful, style from him. So it takes kind of the worst aspects of both Goku and Vegeta's mentality when it comes to Vegito, with Goku's, like childish and naive nature, and Vegeta's more, show off and braggadocious nature, whereas Gogeta is both Goku and Vegeta's best qualities, where Gogeta's basically Goku and Vegeta's qualities of getting down to fight. Like Vegeta's just like, he doesn't play around. This is the side of him that doesn't play around, that's straight to attack. And Goku's style when he gets serious and he's really trying to beat the person and basically, analyzing them. Though that movie was very short, we did see him in the Broly movie, which it showed more of him, and, his style and stuff. And he did seem to be more like Goku and Vegeta, where, he was a guy that would be analyzing his opponent, but also down to beat them completely. Whereas Vegito, still in the Zamasu arc, he was kind of playing around. He's still a little goofy, and he should have like tried to go for the finish a lot quicker since he had a shorter time. But he played around a little too much. So I do think that's gonna help out Gogeta in this fight. The fact that Gogeta is more of a serious character and more of a character who's down to end it right away, whereas Vegito's more of a playful character. So that can kind of be a detriment to his fighting style.
Nothing beats the first time we saw Super Saiyan, but I think this comes close.
This method of fusion was taught to Goku by the Metamorans, a mysterious alien people who we never actually see. In canon, Goku and Vegeta first used this to battle Janemba, a demon basically composed of essence of evil. Probably smells like cats. Gogeta defeated him in less than 2 minutes. 20 years later, Gogeta would become canon to conquer one of the most dangerous entities in the multiverse, Broly.
Obviously, Gogeta's super powerful, but I think his most underappreciated skill is how he comes up with awesome attack names, like the Big Bang Kamehameha.
Gogeta has achieved the empowered forms of Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan Blue, and even Super Saiyan 4 in his battle against Omega Shenron.
Super Saiyan 4 is a totally unique branch of transformation. Instead of using Divine Ki like Super Saiyan God, it taps further into Goku and Vegeta's Saiyan bloodline, giving them fuzzy red fur and teen goth eyeshadow.
Goku has also
That's a little weird that they're using Super Saiyan 4. We know at this point Super Saiyan 4 is just completely non-canon, so we would usually go by Super Saiyan Blue, especially since that, GT, we only saw Gogeta getting Super Saiyan 4. We didn't see Vegito. Whereas in Dragon Ball Super now, we got Vegito Super Saiyan Blue and, the Goku Black arc, and we got Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta in the Broly film. So we got to see them in their blue forms and what they can do. Even though the timelines are a little bit off because, Vegito came a little bit earlier, quite a bit earlier in the story, whereas Gogeta came on later, so the level of power that they would have would be a lot different, but we still got a little bit more feel of what they can do and what they're capable of. But using Super Saiyan 4, we only got to see Gogeta's power in that, and that's going to be a weird mix-up. I don't think they should have put Super Saiyan 4 because it just makes it kind of confusing for a lot of people, and it just makes it weird. I think they should have just, avoided that and just gone with Super Saiyan Blue since they both have it and we've seen them both do, use it. I just don't like them keep on going back to Super Saiyan 4 because it's not a form that we need anymore. Like when they did the first Goku vs. Superman video, they used Super Saiyan 4 in there, and we didn't need that when he had like Super Saiyan God and stuff and all these other forms. I just don't care about Super Saiyan 4. I don't think we need it for these battles because the feats from Super Saiyan 4 weren't that really interesting, to be honest.
Claim this form increases a Saiyan's inherent aggression, though you wouldn't know it with Gogeta. He basically becomes Dragon Ball's Bugs Bunny, reveling and messing around with his foe any way he can.
Until the fusion runs out. That's right, the fusion dance has a time limit of 30 minutes. This can be reduced even more if Gogeta uses up a lot of energy. Against Omega Shenron and GT, he split apart after about 10 minutes.
Just more evidence that the amount of power Gogeta possesses is enormous. Even repeatedly striking Broly so hard that the boundaries between dimensions shattered like glass wasn't enough to burn through his time. Hell, he was only in Super Saiyan 1 when he did that. After going blue, Broly didn't stand a chance. Based on earlier in the film, Whis' reaction even implies that Gogeta could possibly take on Beerus.
In Dragon Ball Heroes, Gogeta continues to prove he's one of the multiverse's S-tier fighters. He even defeated the Crimson Masked Super Saiyan Rose Full Power Goku Black and Ultimate God Slayer Hearts the God Hater. You know, those guys.
And 2 Gogetas together could take on Fu.
Just Fu? After all that, he's just called Fu?
Dark King Fu, the artificial bio-android demon mutant. He has Saiyan, Namekian, Earthling, Majin, and Eternal Dragon DNA.
Is this fan fiction?
Hearts the God Whiner claimed Fu could become an entity akin to Zeno, that little blue baby who can erase a multiverse with a thought.
But these Gogetas achieved even stronger forms than before. One was in Super Saiyan Blue Evolved, the boosted form Vegeta achieved during the Tournament of Power. The other was Super Saiyan 4, but not just any Super Saiyan 4. He was Super Full Power Saiyan 4 Limit Breaker. I think my tongue is permanently twisted now.
These 2 forms fighting side by side implies that, at least in this iteration, both are similar if not equal in power.
Go.
So the reason why they put in Super Saiyan 4 and stuff is because they're using Dragon Ball Heroes. I I did not expect that. I expected them to do it just from the regular Dragon Ball Super storyline and the power from there, and then try to make an assumption of, well, let's say they both had a Goku and Vegeta that had equal amount of power, like equally, and then they fused, and then they won Super Saiyan Blue. Who would win in a fight between those two? But they're using ones from Dragon Ball Heroes where there's many different transformations. There's different things there. The story is not very I guess you can say consistent. There's a lot of inconsistencies in it. It's just wild and weird, and it's not meant to be taken seriously. I know some people do for whatever reason, but it's not meant to be so. It's weird for me personally. I don't like that idea. I would have just kept it as the super, Dragon Ball Super versions of them, and see how they would match up against each other. But using that makes it a lot more confusing. So I can't really definitively say which one would win in this fight now, because I'm not really in tune to Dragon Ball Heroes. I watched like maybe 2 or 3 of the episodes, and then I kind of got like bored because I was like, this doesn't have anything to do with the actual story. It's just a bunch of random ass crap happening. So I don't really care about Dragon Ball Heroes unless if it's like fully canon. I don't care. If it's like these other separate timelines that some people might want to say, I don't care. I care only about the definitive timeline itself and what's happening in the story when it comes to power. Anything additionally is just, pointless to me. So yeah, this battle kind of, it kind of ruins it a little because I don't care about that too much, to be honest. And it's a little more confusing and more ridiculously over the top when it comes to the feats itself.
Vegeta's so cool, and there are tons of people who think he'd win this matchup.
In Weekly Jump issue 28 from 1995, the fusion dance was stated to unify Goku and Vegeta's spirits and draw out their power to the max. As long as a fight with Vegito lasts less than 30 minutes, the magazine says Gogeta should win.
And then in the video game Raging Blast, there's a what-if scenario where Gogeta beats Vegito in a sparring session. But he was about to run out of energy, so maybe it could have gone either way.
Though with his power and skill, it's unlikely any opponent would push Gogeta to his limit. 2 of the greatest warriors in history merged together as one. What more could you want as a fan? And what more could you fear as a foe?
It's the spring of 1995. A demonic menace has threatened to consume the world in chaos. Goku and Vegeta were pushed to the brink with only one option left: fusion! They used one of their most incredible techniques to become a merged being of unimaginable power. Does this sound familiar?
But fittingly, perfect combinations of Goku and Vegeta's signature moves, such as the final Kamehameha, formed like Vegeta's final flash, but fired like Goku's Kamehameha wave. He's got a Spirit Sword, the Saiyan Shield, and the Banshee Blast. Which, no, it's not the ghost attack you're thinking of.
With Goku and Vegeta's powers combined, Majin Buu was no match. Super Vegito was so friggin' powerful that even being turned into candy didn't slow him down. It just made him delicious.
His level of power had transcended to such an impressive degree that he was capable of effectively ignoring having his matter entirely altered and his DNA eradicated. He continued on as the incredible fighting candy.
No mouth, no brains, no organs of any kind, and he still kept slapping around that big pink ass.
Phrasing. Presumably, this is similar to how Vegeta overpowered Babidi's mind control, or how Goku broke through Hit's time skip with Kaioken. A greater power level can overrule basically anything a weaker one does. Though, to be fair, the Super Candy is a pretty extreme example.
But Vegito's a pretty extreme guy, even for the Dragon Ball multiverse. He later got that godly blue hairspray and beat the crap out of merged Zamasu, a double deity. Like a fusion dick measuring contest, but not at all close.
Though similar to his dancing counterpart, Vegito's time ran out after he overtaxed himself.
Which was kinda weird. Back in the day, they said these Potara fusions were permanent. Turns out it's only permanent for Supreme Kais. Vegito's form can last up to 1 hour before splitting apart, but can be shortened severely if he goes full tilt. In the manga, Vegito formed after Zamasu fused, and split apart when they expected fused Zamasu to have 20 minutes left, meaning he cut his time down to 40 minutes at most, though in the anime it was way less since he tried to quickly overpower Zamasu with a single attack.
The Potara have their own set of rules. Unlike the fusion dance, this form is maintained by the power of the earrings, not the fusers themselves. As such, destroying the earrings ends the fusion.
And if you slap the Potara on while in a Super Saiyan form, you can't power power down while fused. So if Goku and Vegeta aren't careful, they can find themselves draining power when they don't need to. But surprise, Vegito's got into his own Super Dragon Ball Hero shenanigans, and he's got the full power Red Fur too. Look, Wiz, I think I'm having deja vu.
Aside from Fu, he's battled heavy-hitting threats to the multiverse like Cumber and Mechikabura.
And just like with Gogeta, there's plenty of people who think Vegeta would win this fight.
Daisetsu's 4 and 7, basically 2 Dragon Ball encyclopedias, claim that the Potara fusion is superior to the fusion dance.
Old Kai said this too, that the Potara provide a greater effect.
Though they both may be referring to what was believed at the time to be a permanent fusion. Not having to worry about overspending your time limit would certainly be a greater effect if it were true.
But hey, there's nothing that can get in the way of Vegito's awesome power. Gods and demons alike are no match. When there's no one strong enough to save the day, then perhaps 2 will do. Oh man, that was epic! Totally worth the wish. Though I guess we probably could have solved a lot of world problems with that.
I suppose world domination can wait another year. This fight was incredibly close. No, seriously, how could it not be? They're almost exactly the same person.
With a few minor differences.
Okay, so Gogeta has more canonical victories, more exclusive techniques, equal skill. Fusion dance can fail if performed improperly, shorter duration. Vegito, considered stronger by more official sources, longer duration, no power matching required, equal skill, unable to power down after fusion. Well, the fusion dance failing thingy, this is going off of a scenario of it completing and them fighting, so that doesn't really matter anyway. Shorter duration, that is a big problem. The unable to power down after fusing, well, we're supposed to be putting in the best scenario, so he shouldn't be powering up in, their highest forms while they're fusing. They should be their lowest and then go up to their highest form while they're already fused. So those problems shouldn't be that much of a thing. But I do agree Vegito does have more strong arguments for sources canonically, but I do think that just power alone doesn't make you that much stronger, because who knows, he could probably be just a little bit stronger than him, but not completely. And on top of it, I do think that it's less important of your opponent is, let's say, if your opponent, even if they are stronger, if they're more like playing around, whereas the other person is more serious and a little bit weaker, I still would pick the person that's more serious and a little bit weaker, because they'll be more willing and inclined to end them right away, whereas the other will be playing around too much. A longer duration, but it's not by that much, because when we had Goku and Vegeta fighting against, Merge Zamasu in the anime at least, they only lasted for 9 to 8 minutes, so that wasn't that long. And this one, they can sometimes go to 5 minutes for Gogeta, but definitely Vegito does have a longer duration since they have an hour already, and you can just shorten that hour, whereas theirs is only 30 minutes, so it's half that, and then you shorten it even more, so that could be a problem. But yeah, I don't have a problem with their arguments right here. I just think that some stuff might not be as correct.
Here and there, like signature attacks. Neither Vegito nor Gogeta had one single power that provided an absolute edge over the other.
Except perhaps Vegito's longer time limit, though it's not so clear-cut. Both have overtaxed their energy quick enough to end their fusions in less than 10 minutes. Time isn't the only factor, but also whatever is maintaining each fusion. Gogeta's body and Vegito's earrings. It's possible Vegito's power can actually drain the Potara faster than Gogeta's does his own body.
Still, it's twice the time, and that definitely gave Vegito more flexibility and strategy. So more often than not, it's safe to say Gogeta would run out of juice first.
Also, when Vegeta or Gogeta defuse from power overuse, it's typically difficult for them to immediately fuse again due to that lack of energy.
But Vegito had another one over Gogeta. No matter what, he'd always have a very slight power advantage. Remember how the fusion dance requires the fusers to match their power levels? Well, the Potara don't need that.
Goku doesn't need to match Vegeta's slightly lower power levels, so there's nothing stopping Vegito from combining the full sum of their parts.
Ah, poor Vegeta. You'll get your day in the sun one day, buddy. Oh, who am I kidding?
This might be what Old Kai was referring to when he said the Potara had a greater effect.
But hey, could Gogeta have destroyed the earrings? Nope! He would have had to be able to overpower Vegito first, like how Goku could only destroy Kefla's earrings after he reached Ultra Instinct.
Remember, when comparing levels of power in Dragon Ball, the greater one can overrule almost anything the weaker one does. The earrings likely tend to be protected by the user's ki aura, similar to their clothing.
The only time we've ever seen Potara damaged or specifically targeted are when the wearer is overwhelmed or in a vulnerable state. If any stray ki blast could destroy them, we'd have a lot more broken earrings by now.
Lastly, there's some debate over their personalities. In their first appearances, Vegito seemed rather cocky and playful against Boo, whereas Gogeta was far more deliberate against Janemba, and thus far more successful. However, these are not core personality traits, and assuming so would be inconsistent with Vegito's serious fight with Zamasu and Gogeta's more brash fights with Broly and Omega Shenron. Context is key. As far as personality and mental ability goes, Gogeta and Vegito are practically identical. In the end, Vegito's higher power level, no matter how slight it was, made a big difference in protecting and maintaining his longer, more flexible time limit.
Gogeta was gonna need meta more than that to beat Vegito. Sorry, Wiz, I know that pun was potarible.
Wait, shut up. Earth's Dragon Balls give 2 wishes, right?
Oh, yeah. Hey, Shenron, I wish for you to fuse me and Wiz.
Thanks for watching. We've got a bunch of new stuff in the works for you. If you aren't a champion, click that join button and give it a shot. Also, Season 10 of Death Battle is coming soon, including 2 matchups chosen by our champions. Let's see what you picked.
Survival of the fittest. Survival of the fittest. Survival of the fittest in the game of life. Take with me. We ready to fight.
So that was Death Battles, Gogeta versus Vegito. They had Vegito winning it. Personally, I like Gogeta way more than Vegito, and I still think he would have won due to the fact that he takes the fight more serious, and he would have found a better way to beat him. Though I can definitely see why they chose Vegito due to the time limit, so he has it longer, and they did. A lot of times they do lean more towards him being a little more powerful. So even if he is slightly more powerful, that does give him an edge, especially with the time, the less of a time limit. So that does help out. But I do disagree with them saying that that's not their personal character trait, because we saw, Vegito being serious against Zamasu, and we saw Gogeta messing around against, Omega Shenron. But like I said, GT is not canon, so you can't really use that as an argument. And they did mention the Broly film, but I don't think he was playing around the Broly film. He seemed pretty serious. The only reason it was extending it out was, remember when he was about to do the final Kamehameha? Or I think it was the final Kamehameha? He was firing the attack, and as it was about to hit Broly disappears because of the wish from the Dragon Ball with Chile, and she saves him, and you see him smiling, and he's happy. So I don't think Gogeta wanted to kill him. I think Gogeta kind of knew that his allies were going to probably try to find a way to get him out of there, or use the Dragon Balls to get him out of there, and he was kind of in a position where he was like, well, I'm in a dangerous position. We have a wild animal that's getting stronger and stronger, but I don't see him as evil, so I want to give them some time to actually, take him out of there before I kill him. But I can't just, not do it at all. So I'm going to give them some time, but I'm going to fire it and kill him. And he was possibly thinking that, man, they're too late. But once when he teleported and he missed, he was happy. He was like, okay, that's a good thing. So I don't think it was him messing around. I do think it was just him, him in a terrible situation where he didn't want to kill him, but he has no other option. So he wants to extend the timeout as much as possible, but not for too long before, it becomes a danger and he can't do it later. So that's why he did that. And Vegito, you can kind of make an argument too, was saying, well, the reason why he was playing around was he was trying to bait, Super Buu to absorb him so he can let out the rest of the kids. But that was still dumb because he could have just obliterated him and, revived him through the Dragon Balls anyway. I don't know why he couldn't just done it that way at least. But still, Vegito plays around more. And in the Zamasu fight, he was still pretty much playing around. Because if he wanted to end it, he could have ended it earlier. We had Trunks, Trunks is far weaker, and he was able to end, merge Zamasu's physical body, whereas he was stronger, but he waited towards the ending. He should have been knowing when his time limit was going to hit. So the fact that he didn't, try to beat him right away, and he did play around when he stabbed him through the chest, to surprise him, and he was crying and then he was joking around. So he wasn't as serious. So I do disagree with them on that point, but I am interested to see the next 2 fights. I know Bill Cipher from, Gravity Falls, great show. I think Bill Cipher is pretty powerful, pretty OP, and I don't know who that Court is. I've never heard of him or seen where he's from, so I don't know much about him. I know more about Bill Cipher, and I'm choosing him to win. And then we have Alex Macer versus Cole McGrath from the Infamous series versus I forgot what the other one was called, but I like Infamous. I love the game. I've actually played the game, the first one, the second one, and the third one where they had Second Son. So I like Cole a lot more than Alex Mercer. And personally, it might just be my bias, but I think Cole McGrath is also more powerful than him. He's had some OP ass abilities. So I can't wait to see those two. I'm deciding for Bill Cipher in that one and Cole McGrath versus Alex Mercer. So I'm really, really excited for the Alex Mercer versus Cole McGrath fight. I think that one's a really hype one, and people always want to see these two characters fight. But I'm definitely on Cole's side. I can't wait to see that because I just love him and his, his power set. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and stay tuned for next time.